He said, college is a waste for girls. 12 years later, I bought the building where he works. And he had to ask me for permission to renew his lease. Some fathers build their daughters up. Mine tore me down to build himself higher. But I learned something he never expected: foundations matter. I was 17 when my father told me college wasn't for people like me. Not people like us. People like me. He said it over breakfast on a Tuesday morning in March. I remember because the kitchen smelled like burnt toast and the cheap coffee he bought in bulk from Costco. My acceptance letter to state sat on the table between us. The paper was cream-colored, embossed with the university seal. I'd been staring at it for 3 days. My mom had already seen it. She cried when I showed her. Happy tears, she said. But when my dad came home that night, she folded it back into the envelope and tucked it under a stack of bills. So that Tuesday morning, I brought it out myself. I slid it across the table while he scrolled through his phone. Dad, I said, I got in. He didn't look up. Got in where? State for Business Administration. He set his phone down. Looked at the letter. Then at me. And how do you plan to pay for that? I swallowed. I thought you said you had my college fund. He leaned back in his chair. The vinyl creaked under his weight. I had asterisk a college fund, Jenna, he said, past tense. My stomach dropped. What do you mean, past tense? He sipped his coffee. Slow. Like he was buying time. I invested it. Invested it where? In something that'll actually pay off, he said. A business opportunity, real estate development. Your Uncle Greg and I are going in together. The air felt thin. Like someone had opened a window in winter. That was my money, I said. That was our asterisk money, he corrected. Money I earned, money I saved, and I'm using it to build something that'll benefit this whole family. But you promised. I promised to take care of you, he said, and that's what I'm doing. This investment is going to triple in 5 years. You'll thank me later. My mom stood at the sink, washing the same plate over and over. She didn't turn around. I looked back at my dad. So what am I supposed to do? I asked. Just not go. He shrugged. You could work for a year, save up, or find a guy who'll take care of you. College is a waste for girls anyway. You'll just get married and quit working. I felt my hands curl into fists under the table. I don't want to get married right now, I said. I want to study finance. He laughed. Actually laughed. Finance, Jenna, you got a B- in algebra. That was freshman year. Doesn't matter, you're not built for that world, it's cutthroat, you'd get eaten alive. He stood up, grabbed his keys from the counter. Look, I'm not saying you're not smart, he said, but there are different kinds of smart. You're people smart, you should work retail, maybe management someday, that's a good life. He kissed the top of my head like I was 10. Then he left. The door clicked shut behind him. My mom finally turned around. Her hands were red from the hot water. He means well, she said quietly. I didn't answer. I just stared at the letter. That cream-colored paper with the embossed seal. I folded it carefully, slipped it into my backpack, and I made a promise to myself right there at that kitchen table. I would go to college. Not someday. Not when it was convenient. Now. I had a small savings account my grandmother had opened for me when I was 12. $3,000. Not enough for a year. But enough for a start. I also had something else. A silver bracelet my grandmother gave me before she died. It had a tiny charm on it, a book. She told me, education is the one thing no one can take from you. So I wore it every day. Even when my wrist turned green from the cheap metal. That bracelet became my anchor. A reminder that someone believed I was worth investing in. Even if my own father didn't. I enrolled part-time at the community college that fall. 2 classes: Business Fundamentals and Intro to Accounting. I paid with my grandmother's money and got a job at Target. Red polo shirt, khaki pants, name tag that always tilted left. I worked 30 hours a week and studied in the break room during lunch. My dad didn't ask how I was managing. He just assumed I'd given up. When I came home smelling like retail floor cleaner, he'd nod like I'd finally accepted my place. "See," he said one night, "you're doing fine, you don't need a degree to work hard." I wanted to tell him I was still in school. But I didn't. I wanted to prove something first. That first semester, I got straight A's. The second semester, I added another class. Then another. By my second year, I was taking 4 classes per semester and working 40 hours a week. I was exhausted. My feet ached. My eyes burned from staring at textbooks under fluorescent lights. But I was doing it. Then one afternoon in November, my mom called me at work. She was crying. "Jenna, you need to come home." "What's wrong?" "Just come home." I clocked out early. Drove 20 minutes in rush hour traffic with my heart hammering. When I got there, my dad's truck was in the driveway. So was my Uncle Greg's. I walked in through the side door. They were sitting at the dining table. Papers everywhere. My dad had his head in his hands. Uncle Greg looked pale. "What happened?" I asked. My mom gestured to the papers. "The investment fell through." I stepped closer. Picked up one of the documents. It was a foreclosure notice. "They're taking the property," my dad said. His voice was flat. "The city rezoned it, we can't build, and we're too far in to pull out, we're losing everything." I looked at the numbers. $68,000. Gone. "Wait," I said, "that's how much you put in." "Everything," Uncle Greg muttered, "every cent." I felt something cold crawl up my spine. "That was my college fund," I said. My dad looked up. His eyes were red. "I know. You told me it was going to triple." "I thought it would. You promised asterisk me." "I know," he shouted. "I know, okay, I screwed up, but yelling at me doesn't change anything." I stood there holding that foreclosure notice. The paper felt thin. And cheap. Like it couldn't possibly represent everything I'd lost. "You didn't just lose money," I said. "You lost my future." "Don't be dramatic." "I'm working 40 hours a week and taking night classes because of you," I said. "I sleep 4 hours a night. I eat ramen 3 times a day. And you gambled away the one thing that could have changed that." "It wasn't gambling," he snapped. "It was an investment." "Investments are calculated," I said. "You didn't calculate anything. You just wanted to get rich quick." "Get out," he said. I blinked. "What?" "Get out of my house." My mom gasped. "David." "She wants to throw this in my face? Fine, but not under my roof." I looked at my mom. She was crying again. But she didn't say anything. I set the paper down. Walked upstairs. Packed a duffel bag. When I came back down, my dad was still at the table. I stopped in the doorway. "I'm going to finish college," I said, "and when I do, I'm never asking you for anything again." He didn't look at me. Just stared at those papers. I left through the side door. Got in my car. Drove to my friend Rachel's apartment and slept on her couch for 3 months. But that wasn't the worst part. The worst part came 2 weeks later. When I found out he'd already spent my savings too. The $3,000 my grandmother left me. He'd moved it into a joint account with my mom years ago. And when the investment went south, He drained it to cover some of the losses. Every cent. Gone. I found out when I tried to pay tuition for spring semester. The account balance read zero. I called my mom. She confirmed it. He didn't tell you, she whispered. No. Oh, Jenna, I'm so sorry. Did you know? A silence. Did you know, Mom? He said he'd pay it back. I hung up, sat in my car in the Target parking lot, and cried so hard I couldn't breathe. I dropped 2 of my classes that semester. Not because I wanted to, because I couldn't afford them. I picked up a second job, waitressing at a diner on weekends. 4 a.m. shifts. Burnt coffee and runny eggs. Tips in greasy dollar bills. I was 20 years old and felt 50. My body ached in places I didn't know could ache. My hair started falling out from stress. I stopped wearing my grandmother's bracelet because I was afraid I'd lose it. I kept it in a Ziploc bag in my glove compartment. Sometimes, when I was sitting in my car between shifts, I'd take it out. Hold it. And remember what she told me. Education is the one thing no one can take from you. Except they did take it. Or tried to. I had a hard time focusing in class. My grades slipped. I got a C in financial accounting. A C asterisk. I'd never gotten a C in my life. My professor pulled me aside after class one day. Jenna, what's going on? And nothing. You're one of my best students, but lately you seem somewhere else. I didn't know what to say. So I said nothing. He handed me a flyer. There's a scholarship through the business department, he said. Merit-based, full ride for students with financial need. You should apply. I looked at the paper. The deadline was in 2 weeks. I don't think. Just apply, he said. Worst case, you don't get it. Best case, you change your life. I took the flyer home. Read it 17 times. Then I wrote the essay. It took me 4 days. I wrote about my grandmother. About the bracelet. About working 2 jobs and sleeping on a couch. I didn't mention my father. I didn't want pity. I just wanted a chance. I submitted it at 11:58 p.m. on the deadline. 2 minutes before midnight. Then I went to bed and didn't think about it again. Because hope felt dangerous. Hope felt like something that could be taken away. I used to think family meant safety. Now it just means evidence. Evidence that the people who are supposed to protect you can hurt you the most. Evidence that love isn't always enough. And evidence that sometimes the only person you can rely on is yourself. One night, I was closing at the diner. It was 2 a.m. Rain hammered the windows. The cook had already left. I was wiping down tables when my phone buzzed. A text from my mom. Your father's business with Greg is officially closed. He's trying to start something new. He asked if you'd co-sign a loan. I stared at that text for a full minute. Then I blocked her number. Not because I didn't love her, but because I couldn't keep absorbing their chaos. If your parent gambled away your future, would you ever forgive them? 3 weeks later, I got an email. Subject line, scholarship decision. I almost deleted it. I was scared to open it. But I did. Congratulations. You have been awarded the Westfield Business Merit Scholarship for the following academic year. Full tuition, books, and a living stipend of $800 a month. I read it twice. Then I sat down on the floor of Rachel's apartment and cried. Not sad tears. A relief. Pure, unburdened relief. Rachel came out of her room. What happened? I handed her my phone. She read it. Then she screamed. We jumped up and down in that tiny living room like kids. And for the first time in 2 years, I felt like maybe asterisk, I was going to be okay. The scholarship changed everything. So I quit the diner, kept the target job for living expenses, but dropped down to 25 hours a week. I moved into student housing, a small dorm room with a twin bed and a desk that wobbled. But it was mine. I enrolled full-time, took 5 classes that fall, aced every single one. My professor, the one who'd given me the flyer, started mentoring me. His name was Dr. Raymond Cho. He taught corporate finance and had worked on Wall Street in the 90s. He saw something in me I didn't see in myself yet. "You have instinct," he said one afternoon in his office. "You see patterns that's rare." "I just pay attention," I said. "Exactly." He introduced me to an internship program at a mid-sized investment firm downtown. I applied, got an interview, wore a suit I bought from Goodwill. The woman interviewing me was named Diane Keller. She was 50-something, sharp, and didn't smile much. "Why finance?" she asked. "Because numbers don't lie," I said. "People do." She raised an eyebrow. "That's cynical. That's experience." She hired me on the spot. The internship paid $12 an hour. It wasn't much, but it was a foot in the door. I worked there part-time while finishing my degree. I studied the markets, watched how money moved, learned about equity, debt, leverage, risk. I absorbed everything like I was dying of thirst. Diane noticed. "You're different from the other interns," she said one day. "How?" "You actually care." "I have to," I said. "I don't have a safety net." She nodded slowly. "Good, the ones with safety nets rarely make it." I graduated with honors. Diane offered me a full-time position as a junior analyst. $45,000 a year. It felt like a million. I bought my own apartment, a studio in a decent neighborhood, IKEA furniture, and a mattress on the floor. But it was mine. No one could take it. I started investing my own money. Small amounts. Conservative picks. Index funds, dividend stocks, a little bit of real estate crowdfunding. I wasn't trying to get rich quick. I was trying to build something stable. Something no one could gamble away. Over the next 5 years, I climbed. Junior analyst to senior analyst to associate. I worked 80-hour weeks. Skipped vacations. Lived on coffee and meal prep. But I also saved. And invested. And watched my money grow. By the time I was 30, I had $73,000 in liquid assets. And another $112,000 in investments. I wasn't rich. But I was stable. And stability felt like power. Then one afternoon, Diane called me into her office. "Close the door," she said. I did. "I have a client selling a small commercial property downtown," she said. 4-story building, multi-tenant, mostly office space. It's undervalued because the owner needs to liquidate fast. Okay. I thought of you." I blinked. Me. "You've been talking about getting into real estate. This could be a good starter property. The numbers are solid. I'll send you the prospectus." "Diane, I don't have that kind of money." "You'd need a commercial loan, but with your credit and employment history, you'd qualify, especially with a co-investor." "I don't have a co-investor." "I'll co-sign," she said. I stared at her. "Why?" "Because I see what you're building," she said, "and I want to be part of it." She sent me the prospectus that night. I opened it on my laptop, scrolled through the property details. 4 stories. Built in 1987. Recently renovated. 10 tenants. Current occupancy, 90%. I looked at the address, and my heart stopped. I knew that building. I'd been inside it once. 7 years ago. I clicked through the tenant list. Third name down, Harmon and Associates Consulting. My father's company. The new business he'd started after the real estate investment fell apart. I sat back in my chair, stared at the screen. My hands were shaking. I didn't sleep that night. I ran the numbers 17 different ways. The property was a good deal. Even without the emotional angle, it made financial sense. The rent roll was strong. The location was prime. The asking price was under market value. I could make this work. But there was one detail I couldn't ignore. If I bought this building, I would become my father's landlord. I thought about that for a long time. About what it would mean. About whether it was revenge or justice. Or just coincidence. Then I thought about the bracelet in my glove compartment. The one my grandmother gave me. Education is the one thing no one can take from you. She was right. They couldn't take my education. But I could take their building. I made an offer the next morning. Diane helped me structure the financing. 20% down. Commercial loan for the rest. 30-year fixed rate. The seller accepted within 48 hours. We closed 3 weeks later. I signed the documents in a conference room downtown. My hand cramped from all the signatures. When it was done, the title company handed me a folder. Inside was the deed. It's my name. In print. Owner of 1447 Westmore Avenue. I drove to the building that afternoon. Parked across the street. Just looked at it. 4 stories of red brick and glass windows. It wasn't fancy. But it was mine. I didn't tell my father right away. I wanted him to find out on his own. It took 2 weeks. That's when the property management company sent out new lease renewal notices. All tenants received one, including Harmon and Associates. The letter was professional, standard language. But at the bottom, it listed the new owner contact information. It's my name. It's my email. My phone number. He called me on a Thursday. I was in a meeting. I let it go to voicemail. He called again. Then again. On the 4th call, I answered. Hello. Jenna. His voice was tight. Hi, Dad. Is this some kind of joke? Is what a joke? You bought my building. I leaned back in my chair. I bought **a* building. You happen to lease space in it. Don't play games with me. I'm not playing anything, I said. I'm a property investor. You're a tenant, that's the relationship. He was quiet for a moment. Then, how did you even afford this? I worked, I said. I saved, I invested. You know, all the things you said I wasn't smart enough to do. Jenna. Your lease is up for renewal in 60 days, I said. You'll get the terms in writing. If you'd like to stay, great. If not, you have 60 days to vacate. You can't do this. I can actually, I'm the owner. This is revenge. No, I said. Revenge would be evicting you. I'm offering you a lease renewal. Same terms as everyone else, that's called business. He didn't say anything. I could hear him breathing. Why, he finally asked. Why what? Why did you do this? I thought about that. About all the ways I could answer. I could tell him it was because he stole my future. Because he didn't believe in me. Because he chose himself over me every single time. But I didn't say any of that. Instead, I said, because I could. And I hung up. 3 days later, my mom called. I let it go to voicemail. She left a message. Jenna, please, your father is devastated. He didn't mean to hurt you. He just made mistakes. Can't you forgive him? Can't we just move past this? I saved the voicemail, but I didn't call back. My father signed the lease renewal. He didn't have a choice. Moving his business would cost more than staying. He paid on time every month. I never spoke to him directly again. All communication went through the property management company. Clean, professional, distant. 2 years later, I sold the building. The market had gone up. I made a 42% return on my investment. I used the profit to buy 2 smaller properties. Then 4. Then 8. I built a portfolio. Not because I wanted to be rich, but because I wanted to be untouchable. I wanted to make sure that no one could ever take my stability again. My mom reached out one more time. She sent a card to my office. Inside, she wrote, "I'm proud of you, even if I never said it enough." I didn't respond. Not because I didn't care, but because I'd already spent too many years waiting for their approval. I didn't need it anymore. Last year, I went back to the college where I got my degree. Dr. Cho, my old professor, invited me to speak to his finance class. I stood in front of 60 students. Most of them looked exhausted. Some were probably working 2 jobs like I did. Some were probably wondering if it was worth it. I told them my story. Not all of it, but enough. I told them that the people who doubt you the most are often the ones who are supposed to love you the most. And that's okay. Because you don't need their belief. You just need your own. When I finished, one student raised her hand. "Do you ever talk to your dad?" she asked. I thought about that. About the last time I saw him. In passing. At a coffee shop downtown. He looked older. Grayer. He saw me. I nodded. He nodded back. And we both kept walking. "No," I said, "I don't." "Do you regret that?" I touched the bracelet on my wrist. The one my grandmother gave me. I'd had it repaired. Replated in real silver. It didn't turn my wrist green anymore. "No," I said, "I don't." After the talk, Dr. Cho walked me to my car. "You did good, Jenna," he said. Thanks. I always knew you would." I smiled. "You were the only one." "That's not true," he said. "You knew, you just didn't believe it yet." I drove home that night. To my condo in a nice neighborhood. The one I bought outright. No mortgage. No co-signers. No one to ask permission from. I made dinner. Poured a glass of wine. Sat on my balcony and watched the city lights. And I thought about my father. About the man who told me I wasn't smart enough. That college was a waste. That I should just find someone to take care of me. I wondered if he ever thought about me. If he regretted what he said. If he realized what he lost. But honestly, it didn't matter anymore. Because I didn't need his regret. I didn't need his apology. I didn't need anything from him. I'd built my own foundation. And it was stronger than anything he ever could have given me. Some people will try to take what you've earned. They'll tell you it's for your own good. That they know better. That you're not ready. But the truth is, they're not talking about you. They're talking about themselves. Their own limits. Their own fears. And if you let them, they'll make those limits yours too. But you don't have to. You can take their doubt. And turn it into fuel. You can take their betrayal. And turn it into proof. Proof that you were always stronger than they said. Smarter than they believed. Worth more than they invested. I keep my grandmother's bracelet in a small box on my dresser now. I don't wear it every day anymore. I don't need to, because I carry what it represents inside me. Education, resilience, the refusal to let anyone else define my worth. My father said college was a waste for girls. I bought the building where he works. And when he had to sign that lease renewal, he didn't call me his daughter. He called me the landlord. And you know what? That was enough. Have you ever had to stand up to family for what's right? Tell me your story in the comments, and subscribe for more true stories of resilience and quiet justice.